What is up, everybody? Kyle Murray from FTN Bets back again with another and the final prop betting with a model video of the 2021-2022 NFL season here with some Super Bowl picks. And we're going to have kind of a record-breaking video here with the most picks that we're going to be giving in a single video. I figured why not go big for the Super Bowl, but also with lots of specialty and novelty picks that you have on the boards across multiple sites. On this video, we're going to be tailoring mostly towards DraftKings, but plenty of sites have cool little novelty or specialty props that you can get in on. And I think there are edges to a lot of them, but also a lot of them are also very fun. So that is what I would recommend looking at if you're looking to get in and get some money down for the Super Bowl. So hopefully you all had a great run here following these videos and following these plays. If you guys are looking for some more Super Bowl content, head over to our YouTube channel, FTN Network. Check out the Optimals pregame show, the big game preview show. We did it on Monday. Quan and myself, we broke down tons of stuff: DFS, prize picks, betting, top to bottom. We covered pretty much the entire game, everything that we could think of. And then Friday, the guys Chris Meany, Benny Ricciardi, Matt Friedman, Jeff Ratcliffe, Giles made an appearance with some cool sunglasses. They broke down a very classy, suit and tie type deal for those guys. They broke down the Super Bowl, so highly recommend checking those out. And as always, please like the videos on the YouTube channel, helps us out a ton. Cannot stress it enough. We do appreciate all the support, and subscribe to the channel as well while you're over there. Stay up to date with all the videos, because again, we're posting a ton of them. There's like 2 or 3 free live streams a day going to the YouTube, it seems, sometimes even more when we have the NBA shows over there. So highly recommend getting involved with the YouTube channel, because it's a great way to find some of our content for free. Speaking of free content, Prize Picks pick tracker that we have over at ftndaily.com. You can use that pick tracker for free every single day for any sport. I know I'm putting a lot of picks in there for NBA. I know Meany's doing a lot for NHL. All the guys are doing stuff for NFL, and obviously we'll have a ton in there for the Super Bowl. So check that out. If you're looking to build a bankroll, Prize Picks is a great place to start. If you're a first-time user, you get a 100% match up to $100 if you use the code FTN. So highly recommend doing that. I can't stress enough, guys. Take advantage of these first user bonuses. If you are one of those sites or one of those states where you're just now getting sports betting. I know this time last year, sports betting was just becoming legal in Michigan, and there was promos and first user bonuses for every single site, and it was massive during the Super Bowl. So I took advantage of it, and it's a great way to get a bankroll going. But without further ado, enough rambling. Let's get into the picks. First pick on the board is going to be T. Higgins, anytime touchdown, plus 175. And we're going to pull up the pick tracker here and take a look at some of the odds. Like I mentioned, plus 175, that's where you can find it over on DraftKings. But again, you can shop around, use the prize picks tool, use the prop shop tool to find the best lines here. And you can see plus 175, same odds that I found over on DraftKings, you can find on FanDuel as well, so that would be the best number for me. But T. Higgins has been pretty heavily involved in the last 2 games of the postseason. He has yet to score a touchdown for the Bengals in the playoffs, but I'm hoping that could change here. And a couple of things that potentially lead me in that direction are CJ Uzomah sounds like he's going to play, but that was a pretty gruesome knee injury, and I wouldn't be all that surprised if he were to be slightly limited and potentially lead to more red zone targets, end zone targets for T. Higgins. That's not something that I'm necessarily banking on. I do think CJ Uzomah is going to try his hardest to play in this game, obviously the biggest game of his career, so not banking on that a ton. But B, Jalen Ramsey, probably expect him to be on Jamar Chase at least more often than he's going to be on T. Higgins and other receivers. I do think that they'll move Chase around and they'll find ways to get Chase the ball even when Ramsey's in coverage on him and all that stuff. However, if there's going to be scenarios where T. Higgins has the better matchup than Chase, I don't think that they'll be shy to exploit that. They've done it with T. Higgins at several points this season, and they're not afraid to throw to him, as we've seen over the last 2 games where he's had 9+ targets in back-to-back games in the playoffs and 96+ yards in back-to-back games as well. So T. Higgins plus 175 for an anytime touchdown. I just thought that amongst the players on the board for an anytime touchdown, those seemed like the most, I don't want to say egregious, but the best value, I guess. Mixon, Chase, Cooper Kupp, even Cam Akers, all these guys' lines weren't really all that enticing. So I do think plus 175 for T. Higgins, a guy who scored 6 touchdowns for the Bengals in the regular season, thought was a pretty good number. So that's where we're going for T. Higgins, plus 175 to score an anytime touchdown. Second pick. I guess this is more of a specialty pick. The T. Higgins was more of just a regular standard prop. But Jamar Chase, MVP, plus 1,800. And I know what you guys are thinking. Jamar Chase, I mean, I've been riding this guy's coattail for how long? Pretty much since the start of the year. Was hyping him up in the preseason for season-long fantasy drafts, all that good stuff. And it paid off. I mean, the guy's been phenomenal. Rookie of the year, he was officially announced. We all knew it was going to happen, but officially announced and well-deserved. But I want to talk about Jamar Chase MVP and why I like this bet. It's not necessarily because I think he's going to have a monster game. I just think that there's a good amount of value here, and there's a couple of reasons. First, if the Bengals win this game, there's two people that are winning the MVP. It's Joe Burrow or it's Jamar Chase. There's just simply no way. Okay, I shouldn't say no way. There are a couple of ways. Let's say Joe Mixon finds the end zone 3-4 times, something like that. That can happen, and we can see potentially Joe Mixon win the MVP. I guess same goes for T. Higgins or something along those lines, where an absurd game would potentially knock Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow out of the MVP slot. But I want to throw you guys back to just a few years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, when the Patriots defeated the Falcons. James White scored 3 touchdowns, including the game winner, including the game-tying touchdown and the game-tying 2-point conversion, and he still didn't win the MVP. I'm sure you guys remember this because Tom Brady gave the car to James White that he received for winning the MVP. He gave it to James White because he said James White should have won the MVP. Tom Brady said it himself. It's just that simple. These top 2 players, these superstars, are going to win the MVP. Yes, Joe Burrow is more likely, but in terms of looking for the best odds, the best value, I thought Jamar Chase had slightly better value, and you can actually see he's actually plus 2,500 over on FanDuel, 1,800 on DraftKings. That's where I had it early in the week. That's where I bet it early in the week. Probably going to go throw a couple more sprinkles on it over on FanDuel because, again, Prop Shop is going to allow you to get the best possible value on these bets. But on the top 5 players amongst the MVP value, it goes Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, Cooper Kupp, and then I believe it's Jamar Chase and Aaron Donald tied. I believe they're tied on FanDuel, or sorry, on DraftKings, but I actually think that Aaron Donald's 4th on FanDuel and Chase is 5th. So now let's say in a world where the Rams lose, you're instantly taking away 3 players from the equation. Like, you're not losing the game and winning MVP. It's simply not happening. So then Jamar Chase technically has the second best odds, and based on the 4.5 point spread, 4 point spread that we've been seeing bounce back and forth between the course of the week, I think that there's a good shot that the Bengals have, a realistic opportunity to win this game. And if that happens, I think that there's a lot of value on this Jamar Chase to win MVP bet. That's a tongue twister there. But obviously Joe Burrow would be the likely candidate to win the MVP if the Bengals do win. But again, Jamar Chase, 25-1, 18-1 on DraftKings. A lot of value there, and that's what I'm seeking out here. Now let's get into a juicy prop/novelty bet. You're probably not going to find this in the prop shop here because it's a bit weird. Found it on DraftKings, minus 140, but I love it. I saw it instantly, and I thought, this is strange. I think that this should be, better than minus 140. It should be, a higher number here. And it's first touchdown score, the jersey number of the first touchdown scorer, to be under 23.5. So now I want to name off a couple names that are over 23.5. We have T. Higgins, we have Joe Mixon, C.J. Uzoma, Tyler Boyd. Those are like the 4 big names, right? Like, those are, in terms of guys who are realistically expected to potentially score a touchdown in this game. I know you have Kendall Blanton and Sony Michel. Sony Michel, I guess you could maybe make a case more so than other players, but in terms of guys who are under this number, Cam Akers, who's at 23. You have both quarterbacks at number 9. You have Odell Beckham at 3. You have Jamar Chase at 1. You have Cooper Kupp at 10. You have Van Jefferson at 12. Lots of options here. And in terms of the guys who I think are most likely to score the first touchdown, Joe Mixon is up there, which is a bummer. It feels like he is the biggest threat. And I know I bet T. Higgins anytime touchdown. But in terms of guys most likely to score, it's Jamar Chase, it's Cooper Kupp. I would even consider Odell Beckham up there. I would consider Cam Akers up there. Both quarterbacks with a rushing touchdown isn't out of the realm of possibilities. So I think minus 140 is a pretty big number here for something that I think is fairly likely. So now I want to, again, try to game theory this out a little bit. So it is minus 140. So what I did was I put 2 units on Joe Mixon, minus 140. Or sorry, not Joe Mixon, on jersey number of first touchdown score under 23.5. And what I did was I then threw a little bit of a sprinkle on Joe Mixon to be the first touchdown scorer because, again, I think if this bet were to fail, it would probably be Joe Mixon who came in and cashed here, right? So first touchdown score plus 750 is where you can find it on BetMGM and on FanDuel. And again, it's kind of a little bit of a hedge bet here. If you wanted to go even a step further, potentially throwing a little bit of a sprinkle of a unit on T. Higgins makes a little bit of sense. But I think you can say under 23.5 for the jersey number of the first touchdown scorer, maybe 2 units, maybe you want to just do 1, whatever it is. and then maybe half a unit on Joe Mixon first touchdown score. I think that's a great way to hedge things here, and I think that you're racking up a lot of the players who are most likely to score this first touchdown. So that's one of my favorite kind of bets of the night of the Super Bowl. And now for another one of my favorites, and this might be my favorite in terms of just an entertainment standard. The next pick will be my favorite that I think is just by far the wrong, absolute incorrect line of the day from DraftKings. But now for the entertainment pick. Again, this is Super Bowl. We're going to have some fun. Specialty picks, novelty picks, it's my jam. Total players to have a pass attempt over 2.5. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it already in the postseason with Odell Beckham. We've seen it countless times over the years with the Rams special teams where they're throwing passes left and right. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that this happens. You need one player to attempt a pass. We've seen it in the Super Bowl countless times, right? We saw it in the Philadelphia game with the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots, where both teams had a non-quarterback throw a pass. You need one non-quarterback essentially to throw a pass. We've seen Joe Mixon throw a couple passes over the course of the regular season. I think it's definitely possible here that a team pulls something out of their bag of tricks in the Super Bowl. And at plus 155, I think that's a very interesting bet, one that I like a ton. But my favorite bet of the week, of the game, maybe of the year. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe of the year, both teams to score, not to attempt, but to score 2+ field goals. Yes. So again, you have to say yes on this. Don't hit no. We want yes. But both teams to hit 2+ field goals. I mean, Evan McPherson's had 4+ field goals in every single game so far in the postseason. And on the other side, Matt Gay, he's had 2 or more in every single game of the postseason as well. And he's only been without in 3 games since week 4 where he's had less than 2 field goals made in the regular season. So, I mean, both of these guys are just field goal machines. When they get the opportunity, they're likely scoring. They're likely converting it. They've been very efficient kickers, very accurate kickers. And 2 field goals just isn't a lot. I mean, it's just not a lot. Both these teams have done it in every single playoff game so far this season. So I'm just kind of appalled that this number's at plus 250. Like, this feels like something that should be, I don't even know, maybe plus 125, maybe? I mean, plus 250 just seems, maybe I'm missing something, but plus 250 just seems way too high for this number here. So this is my favorite pick of the week. Both teams to score 2+ field goals. And again, like both these teams have track records of driving down the field and stalling out in the postseason. Clearly they've done it. I mean, we saw what the Bengals did against the Titans just a couple weeks ago when Burrow threw for almost 360 yards and they scored 1 touchdown. And that's because they're settling for lots of field goals. We saw it just last game with the Rams when they moved the ball seemingly at will and they were only able to score 20 points against the 49ers. So plenty of ways that I think that this bet cashes for us. And also I just think that 2 field goals isn't a lot. And 2+, by the way, means they just need 2. They don't need, they don't need more than 2. It's not 3. They just need 2 field goals for each team. So number I really like, plus 250. And then the final bet of the week for the specialty picks is going to be a receiving yards matchup. It's T. Higgins for more receiving yards than Odell Beckham Jr. minus 125 over on DraftKings. I really like Odell in this spot, but I also really like T. Higgins. I do think that the Bengals will probably be in a more favorable passing situation for their statistical boostings, I guess, but then potentially being trailing and down. And I also think that they're going to need to move the ball very quickly, get the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands very quickly and into the hands of his receivers due to a potential scary situation from a very good pass rush and a very bad offensive line. So I think Higgins and Jamar Chase are going to be trusted a ton here to get the job done. So T. Higgins, more receiving yards than OBJ. My projections have T. Higgins for about 12 and a half more receiving yards than Odell on the day. And that's not necessarily saying Odell's going to have a bad game. I have Odell for about 65 yards. But I have T. Higgins for almost 80 yards on the day. So again, it's just simply the advantage that I have in the projections for T. Higgins. And I think that he's going to probably be in the more beneficial scenario. I did make this bet early on in the week when Tyler Higbee was still kind of in the air. I assumed that Tyler Higbee was going to do everything he could to play. Not saying that he didn't, but he's not going to play. He's been ruled out. And that could potentially hurt this bet's value a bit, but I still like it. Reran the projections. projections were still very similar. And even when I ran the projections earlier on in the week, I also did them with no Tyler Higbee, and T. Higgins still had a nice favorable margin there, which settled in around 12.5 yards. So again, T. Higgins more receiving yards than OBJ, minus 125 over on DraftKings. And that is going to be it for the specialty picks. Again, I know a lot of the guys at FTN are going to be doing some specialty picks and all that good stuff. So make sure you're checking those out as well in the bet tracker, on the YouTube videos, all that good stuff. It's going to be a great week in terms of what we're going to be able to cash some bets here for the Super Bowl. But I want to do a couple more standard prop bets here. First one, Jamar Chase. I know we already talked about him for the MVP, but we're going to, obviously, if we're betting his MVP, we got to be interested in some overs, right? I have him at over 78.5 here, minus 110. I like that number a ton. Over on FanDuel, I think even 79.5 is fine. Obviously, if you can find it at 78.5, that's the preferred number. Jamar Chase, I like this number a whole lot. Again, they're going to try to shut him down, but teams have been trying to shut Jamar Chase down all season long, and they haven't been able to. They've been trying in the playoffs, and they haven't been able to. I guess you can say Kansas City sort of did last game, but outside of last week in the game against Kansas City, the previous two games for Jamar Chase, he went over 109 receiving yards, and in his final 5 games of the season, he went over 109 receiving yards in 4 games. Sorry, final 6 games, over 106 yards in 4 of those games, not including the Cleveland game where he only played about 12 snaps in the final week of the regular season. So Jamar Chase over on his receiving yards is definitely a number that I am going to be interested in attacking here. Finally, let's check out Joe Burrow here, because I have a feeling that we're going to be highly interested in the Joe Burrow prop bets. I want to see where his passing yards prop was, because we made a bet earlier in the week on Prize Picks, and it was at 265.5 on Prize Picks. He's up at 277.5 now on BetMGM, so a bigger number over there, but still one that I like. I have him for almost 300 yards. I have him for 299.5 on the day. Like I mentioned, I do think that they're going to need him to throw the ball, and I guess the main concern is the pass rush. But let's just throw it back to just 2 or 3 weeks ago against the Titans when he was sacked 9 times and still threw for 360 yards. The way that they're going to actually combat the pass rush is to get the ball out quickly and to move the ball with the passing game with Joe Burrow, using these short passes as an extension of the run. And one thing I noticed is that Joe Burrow is amazing, and the connection with Jamar Chase is just incredible at getting the ball down the field very quickly. So even despite a pass rush, I think that they'll still be able to push the ball down the field. So again, lots of bets here. If you are looking to get another summary, check in on the FTN Bets bet tracker. I'll have all these picks included in there, but I would highly recommend betting some of these specialty picks. Like I mentioned, I think there's a pretty good edge to a lot of them, as well as good entertainment value for a couple as well. So highly recommend doing that. Make sure you're checking out ftnbets.com/the bet tracker for more of our team's picks for the Super Bowl. Again, hopefully you all enjoy the final game of the NFL season, Bengals and Rams. I'm looking forward to a massive, massive game. 2 awesome storylines on both sides for these teams here. Looking forward to it. We will see you guys next year on the NFL side of things. In the meantime, check out the NBA content. We're doing lots of betting stuff over there. We have tons of guys. I think we're at 4 or 5 guys now that are in double digits of units gained on the FTN Bets side of things in the bet tracker. Highly recommend checking that out. We'll see you guys next year. We'll see you guys next time. Good luck.